Hi friends, welcome to Maria's Ideas Teaches Us to Paint in the Southside Slopes of Pittsburgh, PA. If you are new to our channel, welcome, and we appreciate you being here. And if you're a repeat viewer, thank you so much. We love having you here and getting your comments and positive feedback. If there's anything you ever want to see, let us know. So we do film our show. It's a volunteer cable TV show in Bethel Park, suburb of Pittsburgh, BPTV. And then we share the shows also on their YouTube channel and this YouTube channel, Maria's Ideas Art. So we are filming episode 29. I have my co-host Alan Levine is with me, and then we bring in different guests most of the time, and just kind of design the show around them. So this guest for episode 29 is actually my cousin, Elaine Volpe from Bethel Park Public Library, a librarian there. So I designed this painting with the cardinals that was meaningful for her, and then also books because she is a librarian. We have a little heart on the binding of the book here. So this was the painting that we created during the show. Just very quick painting there. But this tutorial is to help you draw the design for this show. And then you can also use the same concept and idea for transferring other designs on future artwork, or if you want to do something a larger scale on a mural or something. So we use acrylics. We use 11 by 14 canvas panels because they don't bounce. It's nice because it's a rigid surface. You can hang them with a office binder clip. You can pop them in the frame. You can just lean it on something. You can use a canvas. You can use whatever you choose. I'm just using a piece of paper here the same size just to show you this is an 8 by 10 image. We want to make it larger to fit this size. If this was something as small as this, the same practice would work. So you take your image, if you printed something out, or you just wanted, say you drew something small and you want to make it bigger on a surface, your canvas or a wall or whatever. You just take your image, if say it's already drawn, if you were drawing it, you fold it in half, okay, vertically, and then in half again, and then we'll fold, vertically, horizontally, whatever, we're doing both, okay? So you will end up with your design will have equal parts, and let me take a pencil here, colored pencil, and I'll just mark these so you can see them. So you can see our grid. Now what you do is on whatever surface, and you could do more of the grid, you could do more rectangles or squares, it depends on the proportions of your design. You can do more of them too, but this is all I need for this. So what you would want to do is on your surface that you're painting, whatever it is, smaller or bigger, you do equal parts, same proportions, okay? If, say, this is a rectangle and my surface was square, it's not going to work. You want the same proportions, okay? So we want a rectangle. So we can come over to, pretend this is your canvas. You can measure it. For something like this, it's art. It doesn't have to be so exact. You know, you should just have fun with art. No, don't worry about it too much. Don't get stressed out about it. We're doing a little line top and bottom, and then I'm just drawing line. I'm using a color pencil. Whenever you do create your design on your painting surface, I highly recommend using either a watercolor pencil or chalk, something that would reactivate and just kind of melt back into your paints. We use acrylics. The water will just reactivate those. If you use a regular graphite pencil, that's fine. Just keep it very light. I'm doing this darker just so it shows up so that you can see everything. All right, so I did vertically, I did it half and then in half again. And looks like my camera's a little tilted here. And then same thing here. So you can see they're not exact, they're not perfect, but this is just to kind of give us a guide. All right. So what we're going to do is just kind of like paint by number, or I'm sorry, dot to dot. We're just going to put some marks and then connect them. So we'll look on this. Let's start with the bird, this bird, because he's the focal point. So let's find a main intersection here, and that is where his beak is. All right. and his head. So let's start with his head, and then his body will do that after. So this, if I do this with a darker, if you could see here, that's the intersection right here. So it's one over and one down. That's right here. So what we're going to do is just put little marks where his cone-shaped beak is. We can also, if we kind of draw a circle, everything is, you can break it down into shapes. So if we draw a circle on his head, it's a little slightly a bit of an oval, and then mark this area. You could see this part of his head, that's about halfway over, almost halfway, the width there, and then it's about 1/3. So you can kind of get an idea how easily, I don't know if the lighting looks a little, I mean, a little bit of a glare here. There we go. And you can see, again, I'm doing this darker just so you can see. So there's our oval. Now we can go back in and get his beak in there. They have cone-shaped beaks. They're not very long. They are pointy, but they're a cone-shaped beak. And then what you do, you get your shapes in, that's a little triangle there, and then you adjust your design. His eyes right above this line, and then his crest comes up. Most of the details come in when you're painting, so I wouldn't worry too much about everything here. But again, this just gives you an idea of how to transfer your design. And then we have the black mask. This is the dark mask. Okay, so there's his head. Now we come in, if I look at his body, we have a nice, like an egg shape, right? If I drew that shape on there, that's an egg shape. So that's his throat and his breast and his back. So that's comes over, let's see, that's about over here. That's also a little bit beyond his head there. It comes down about 1/4 of this. If we put little marks, it's about 1, 2, it's about 1/4 way down here. And then up, where's my little pickle pointer? In this area, you can see here where it crosses this line. It's about, if I look at the width of it, it's about 1/3. Okay. And then when it comes back up, it meets there. So now that gives you the reference points for how big this oval is, right? See how easy that is? And of course these lines, you won't see them. That's why I said if you do these too dark, you may not be able to cover them with your paint, so you do them very light. I'm just doing them darker so you can see. So there we have his belly. Now we want to add his wing, and then his rump and his tail. So let's see, we have keep this right here. This comes down here, and that's almost to this intersection. Then this other wing comes down here. So you just look at the same points on your grid, and you just copy. So if this was 7 feet or 8 feet high and 10 feet wide, I would put, this was 5 feet over. Each block would be 2.5 feet wide. So you just, as long as the proportions are same or similar, this is very easy to do. All right, so now we have get his rump in there, and then his tail comes all the way down. This is the second block in, and it comes down to about here, and then angles up, and then we start under that wing, bring it all the way down, and then they fans out a little bit, but then they're shorter here. Okay, so now we have our bird. And then let's see, his little feet. We'll put, you know what, let's wait till we get the book on there. So we have our bird, all right? We have our little cardinal. And as we paint, we can adjust, the way, sometimes even if you take a picture or if you work from a photograph of something in real life, you just want to play around with it when you create the artwork. Sometimes you just need to adjust things so that it looks better, if that makes sense. Okay, let's see. Now let's do the female. The females are known for their singing, you know. They actually sing more complicated songs than the male does, and usually it's just the males in the bird world that tend to sing, but the females do too. All right, so let's see. She is very round because of the angle that she is sitting on this little branch. So she's pretty much a circle, little chubby little circle here. So one end is slightly over this line here, and then about halfway the width on this top section, and then about a little more than a third there and here. So again, that you can kind of see that just helps give you the shape. Okay, I apologize, my camera seems to be, it's like distorting the image. It must be angled wrong. I'm sorry about that. Anyway, let's keep going. Okay, so we have our circle. We bring up this is her neck, and then her face, you can see, is another little circle. We could do something like this, and then her beak is in here, and her little eyes. Usually I don't even put all of these details in when I draw. I just do that when I paint, but it's okay if you do put them in too. So, and then that's her little body. Okay, and like I said, you can adjust it whenever you paint. And then her little legs, one leg is shorter, it looks shorter because it's bent, it's up on the branch, the way the branch is coming down, and then the other leg is a little longer. Okay, so, and then her tail goes behind the branch. So get the little branch there. You can add this, you can make it any shape. I just want to make sure that we know where this section goes because her legs are on there. And then her little tail. Okay, so now we have our little girl there, and then you can finish off the branch any way that you choose. Okay, this can come up, I have it just something like that, and then the leaves we can add whenever we paint. Now the books, let's see. So the books we have sitting on a stack of books. So I'm going to work on this one that he's standing on first. So this, we want to start with this one. Let's start with this section here because we want to make sure his legs are in the right place. So it's a little bit under, on my paper, it's about quarter inch, not quite half inch here. So something like, you can see where it is in that rectangle, kind of come up, little curve, and then it goes down under his tail because the where the pages are. Now this angle, you want to make sure you get this right. This right here. So we start at this point, so put our point, little mark there, and then this is a little more than halfway down. So probably about a third down. So if you do those two little points and then you just connect them, that's your angle. Okay, now for the other edge of the book, let's see, it goes, the center is somewhere, it's kind of, I'd say over in here, and then we just go like this. Okay, and then we have it curved, it kind of sticks out like curved a little bit. And again, the artwork that we do on the show, we're not trying to be perfect with it. We're not worried about all of the technical things being correct. We're more focused on just being creative and having fun. And, you know, if you ask 10 professional artists to paint a bird or a cat, they're all going to look different, even if they're looking at the same bird. So, but that's what's wonderful about art, is we all have our own style, and that's a good thing. Okay, If we all painted and drew and sang and did everything the same, it would be pretty boring, right? Okay, so there you could see I did the angle for the page that's up. So you can just follow whatever you're working from, whether it's your drawing or a photograph. Just look at the grid, and then that's our pages. So there's our first book. And then the shadows would come in. That's our pages. And these are up in the air. That's why that's not curved there. These are like up in the air. This would be shadow. This is our pages. Okay, so that's our book there. And then just follow through the this second book here, kind of little arch. Just start with the basic shapes and then say over here. You can make the books larger. You can make them smaller. And then this one, it's a little bit below there. That's the pages. And then draw this. Okay, so that's your second book. You can put little marks on them. You can put words. You can put symbols. This one is a little thinner, and this one sticks out this way. Now this one, we want to make sure we get this one right. So this third book down, the point of where the bottom of the book and the side where they meet, that the reference point is right about here. So it's on mine, it's about 1 inch down, 1/2 inch over, and then I will just draw a line from there to this point, okay? And then I'll come out this way, a little bit of an angle. That's going to curve, and then this point will come and connect to here. So see, you think that math didn't really, you didn't need that if you're just drawing and whatever, but yep, you do. Math and geometry and shapes, geometric shapes, all that, it all comes to play when you're being creative and drawing too, so it does help. Experts say that if you are good with math, you're probably good in art. Don't know if that's true, but that's what I've heard. Okay, so you can see I'm just following along and finishing these other books. And then we have a little bit of a suggestion of a surface. And then our shadows are because our light source is over there. Let's pop his little legs in there. And again, you can just add the details when you paint, but there's our drawing. Okay, so that's it. So just, have fun. Watch the show. If you like it, subscribe. It is a free channel, and we are all volunteers. We just put on the show just to hopefully inspire other people. Okay, so thank you for watching, and next episode will be a woman that is always at all of the Pittsburgh Steelers games, and she travels to Sedona, Arizona often, and we're painting from a photograph of hers as she was hiking in beautiful Sedona. All right, thank you, and happy painting.